in 2019, and it's written and directed by Jordan Peele. Yes, the same person who wrote and directed Get Out. I loved Get Out. I'm not really a fan of horror films, but I absolutely love that film. So naturally, I was quite excited to see this film. But anyway, basically, like I said, the film was written and directed by Jordan Peele, and the film stars Lupita Nyong'o, I might pronounce the name wrong, apologize if I am. The film also stars Winston Duke and Elizabeth Moss. And basically, the film follows the story of this family. We follow the story of this family, and they're going on holiday. And in particular, we follow the story of Lupita Nyong'o's character. Again, I might pronounce the actress name wrong, apologies if I am. But at the same time, we follow her story in the film in particular. And we learn at one early stage in the film that basically a tragic thing happened to her character in her past. But at the same time, though, we focus on this family in the present. And the mother and the father in this family are played by Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke. But anyway, we follow this family, and they're on holiday. They're trying to have a good time, but at the same time, there's a sense of unnerving, because at the same time, they're on holiday at the same place where this tragic thing happened to Lupita Nyong'o's character early on in her life. But at the same time, they're just trying to have a happy holiday. That is until one night on their holiday, when their doppelgangers, the dark versions, the shadow selves of this family come into contact with the family themselves. So basically, the dark versions of this family start to hunt down this family that I've been following so far. At the same time, though, it's not just this family alone. We learn that all over this part of America, all the doppelgangers of these families, or the dark versions of themselves, or the shadow versions of themselves, are uprising against the lighter and happier side of this family, if you will. So basically, in America, these doppelgangers are rising up against the, the actual version of these families. And that's basically the plot of the film. And at the same time, we also get the story with Elizabeth Moss's character, who is a family friend of Winston Duke and Lupita Nyong'o's character, and she plays quite an interesting role in the film, to say the least. And at the same time, though, we follow this family, and then we realize that doppelgangers are coming up against them, dark versions of themselves, shadow versions of themselves are going up against them, trying to hunt them down. But at the same time, it's a lot more than that. It's not just, a cat and mouse chase film between the doppelgangers and the real family. No, there's a lot more to it than that. I'm not going to get into what happens in the film. There's a couple of huge twists in the films which basically change where the plot is going. But that's basically the plot of the film. And actually, I'm quite a big fan of us. I quite like this film. I understand why people have their criticisms with it. I understand why people might dislike this film. But personally, I quite like it. And one of the big reasons I like it is because of this. There's one big, huge twist, and if you've seen the film, you know exactly what twist I mean. There's one big, huge twist towards the end of the film. The thing is, I saw that twist coming from like 10 miles away. I was thinking to myself in the first act of the film, I bet it's going to be the twist. I bet it's going to be the twist. I bet it's going to be the twist. And you know what? It was a twist. But you know what? By the point that it actually did get to that twist within itself, again, I'm trying not to give too much away, but to the point that it did get to the twist was still effective because of the way it was written, and that worked to me. When I was watching that twist, I was like, okay, now this is actually still working now because of the way Jordan Peele has actually written this film. I think it is really well made, and I think it's really well written, and that twist was still effective, which I'm so happy about, because I was thinking in the first act of the film, is this twist going to be in my head? Is it going to be on my head for the whole course of the film? I'm just going to be thinking, is that twist coming? Is that twist coming? And the thing is, after the first act of the film, that thought was never in my head. And then when the twist came, because the film was written so well, it was still effective. And here's another thing with this film. I'm not a fan of horror movies, really, at all. I get why people are. I really understand why people love horror films. Personally, I'm not one of those people. I mean, I love a certain selection of horror films. There are some horror films out there which I absolutely love. Get Out is one of them, written and directed by the same person as this film. But the thing is, with Get Out, I love that for a whole different reason. I love that because, again, the whole big twist in that film, not to give too much away about Get Out if you haven't seen it, but, again, that's another fantastic horror film. And that's also why I like Us so much, because of the way it's written. It's similarly written to Get Out, which is probably why I like it so much. I mean, I think the performances are all great, especially Lupita Nyong'o. Winston Duke's great. Elizabeth Moss is very good, Elizabeth Moss, she had a bit of a horror period. She went from Us to The Invisible Man. I mean, so I'm not the biggest fan of The Invisible Man. Actually, I can see where she kind of plays some of a similar character, not to give too much away for either of those films, really, but, she kind of plays some of a similar character. And I really liked where the film went. I really liked this holiday of the doppelgangers, or the dark versions of themselves, or the shadow version of themselves, if you will, because it is really interesting to watch. I really liked it, and I couldn't understand why people wouldn't. I actually read some reviews on IMDb, although I don't really trust user reviews on IMDb. I did actually read some reviews where people were like, what was the point? There wasn't any plot anywhere, and, story didn't really go anywhere. The third act was a bit overlong, and although I do agree that the third act of the film is a bit overlong, that'd be one of my personal criticisms to the film, I do think it has a plot. I do think it's well written, and I was intrigued into the story of what was going on. And that all comes down for the way Jordan Peele constructed the film. I think if it was constructed in a different way and that twist was just thrown in straight away, then maybe I wouldn't have liked it as much. But the fact is, it was done in a different way. It was done in the way that worked for me. It was effective, it was unique, and I really liked it. It is a bit overlong, and at the same time, though, there are some moments in the film which I think you could cut out, and there are some moments in the film which get really violent, which I didn't really expect. I thought that was really a criticism. At the same time, though, it was a bit unexpected, and there's a bit of a warning there. It does get very violent and very gory in some stages. Again, this is coming from someone who doesn't like horror films. I think some horror films just rely on too many cheap jump scares. But I never thought Us did that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it does have some jump scares in there, but it doesn't rely on them just for the horror effect of the film. And that is why I like Us so much. And so for that reason, I'm going to say that Us is I'm going to say it's about an 8.5 out of 10. I actually really like this film, and I'm so happy that I did. I mean, I was a huge fan of Get Out, and I don't think this film is as good as Get Out, but saying that, it is still a really good film. I'll definitely go and watch it again. It's definitely one of the horror films I like more, because it didn't just rely on cheap jump scares. The horror of the film is in the story. The horror of the film is the way it's shot. There's certain sequences in the film which are quite terrifying to watch in the best way possible. It's what you want from a horror film. Honestly, if you haven't checked out Us, I would highly recommend it. I actually quite like this film. It was well made, well constructed, well crafted. The performances were all fantastic in the film. Even the kids were fantastic, which I haven't really talked about. And actually, I really liked this film. I really did. And so for that reason, I'm going to say that Us is an 8.5 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of Us? Do you love it, do you hate it, or have you just not watched it? And if not, why not? Please do comment down below and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and like subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more, both film and TV reviews coming very, very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now. Bye!